anyone would like to stay at the end for a short interview about your thoughts, we'd love to have you come to the front of the stage for that. And secondly, there were 1-minute evaluations that you picked up on the way in. If you could fill those out at the conclusion of this presentation and turn those in, it would be very much appreciated. That helps us determine who will be coming in future programs to speak. So for our speaker, Karith has been seen and heard all over national radio and television. Highlights include creating and producing her own show for SiriusXM, being on Oprah Winfrey, Comedy Central, and on the nationally syndicated airwaves as Dawn Imus's sidekick on Imus in the Morning. She's one of the featured comedians in the 2016 hit documentary about comedy and outrage culture, Can We Take a Joke?, which has garnered accolades in the Washington Post and Time magazine. She most recently founded the Foster Russell Family Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit whose mission is to inspire free speech, social change, and empowerment through education and mentorship. Karith is an alumna of Stevens College, Missouri, and Oxford University. In March 2017, Karith joined one of the highest echelons of the speaking world when she delivered her TEDx talk, The Art of Defying Stereotypes, Learning to Be True to Your Voice, at the TEDx Lincoln Square Risk Takers and Changemakers event in New York City. Please welcome Karith Foster, who is here to share her insights with you.
Give it up for Rebecca, y'all. That was not easy to do. She just got that script just a second ago. So I want to make sure this is on. Hold on 1 second. There we go. I did all those great things, and I'm here to do some more great stuff for you guys. How many people here have their cell phones with them? Right? You never leave home without it. All right, I'm going to ask a favor of you before we get started. I'm going to ask you, who has Snapchat? Game on. Those of you who have Snapchat, will you do this? Do you know how to do this? You basically just hold your phone over it, focus it, and you know what's going to happen? You're going to get a little survey that's going to pop up with like 5 questions. And I'm going to take about 90 seconds out of your lives for you to answer that. Look at you, all of you have your phones, and I guarantee you you're going to want to do this because at the end I'm going to ask you to do it again, and at the beginning you're going to be like, oh, why didn't I do it the first time? Otherwise it's going to be completely uneven. And I'm asking you to do this because I want to make sure that the work I'm doing is something that's helpful for future audiences, because I care what you guys think, and I value your opinions. And this is to not only like check myself, but also make sure that I'm giving you guys what you need. Okay? Everybody get it for the most part? Anybody having trouble with it? You're having trouble with it? You got it? Or you didn't get it? You got it? Okay. Did it come through for you? It didn't? Oh, you got it now? It still didn't come through? Really? Is it not coming through for you guys? It's about half and half? Okay. Well, hopefully it'll come through in the end. I'm not going to waste any more time on it. So basically, I'm here for a diversity and inclusion workshop. Now, I don't know how many of you guys hear the word diversity and you get so excited, right? Because it's like, oh great, another seminar where I'm going to be told that I'm a victim, right? Or I'm a bad person because I'm not from a marginalized group. Well, that is the exact opposite of everything that I do. And there's a reason for that. One of the reasons is because most D&I programming should cover all of this. And this is a lot. Like, this is more than we have time for in this hour. It's more than you have time for in a 3-hour workshop or even possibly a semester. So we're going to talk real, true diversity We're going to talk about everything, from not just our ethnic backgrounds and our religion, but our physical abilities, where we grew up, the languages we speak. It's a major taking on. And we just don't have time for that. Plus, I also am a believer that all this stuff divides us. And the word diversity has been hijacked. Just like the word feminist and liberal, and people just kind of put blinders on when they hear it. So I actually coined the term inversity. Because I think what we should really be focusing on isn't what divides us, what separates us, but what actually brings us together. What we have in common, right? Inclusion, and also introspection. Understanding our value, our worth, our connection to humanity. Because that's what we bring to the table. Because here's the deal, y'all. If you can see that in yourself, you can see it in somebody else. Now, actually, we just went a little crazy. Oops. Why is it going backwards? Hold on. There we go. It's like live TV, isn't that fabulous? So I'm going to ask y'all to do me another favor. My first favor was for you to pull out your phones and do the Snapchat poll, if you could. Now I'm going to ask you to do another favor. This is the only time I'm going to ask you to be vulnerable. But I want you to do me the favor of closing your eyes and listening to me ask you yes or no questions, okay? And you don't have to verbalize anything, you don't have to raise your hand, you just have to note to self, yes or no, have you ever done these things, okay? So go ahead, close your eyes. Nobody's gonna take anything while your eyes are closed, I'm keeping guard. Have you ever been in your car and a black guy has walked by and you locked your car doors or thought about it? Have you ever seen somebody who's overweight and thought, I bet they're just lazy, don't have any willpower? Have you ever seen someone who is really attractive and thought, I bet they don't have to work that hard for anything. Things just probably happen for them, right? Have you ever thought, Jewish people are really good with money? Have you ever been on an airplane and seen somebody of Middle Eastern descent and had a flash of panic just for a second? Have you ever thought, Indians are really good at math and science. That must be why so many go into engineering. Have you ever heard somebody with a southern accent and thought, oh, what a shame, too bad they aren't very smart? Or on the opposite end, heard somebody with a British accent and thought, wow, they're really smart and classy. And lastly, have you ever been cut off in your car while you're driving down the street and thought, oh, I bet they're Asian or old? Now, keep your eyes closed. Keep your eyes closed. If you answered yes to any of those questions, would you raise your hand? Okay. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now, will you open your eyes and look around? Okay. The reason my hand is up is because I've done it too. Okay? You're not alone. And for that, I want to say thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it because it's not easy being that honest about that kind of stuff. Right? And secondly, I want to say congratulations, y'all. You're actually certified human beings. Yeah, you can applaud yourselves. Go ahead, please. Because this is real life, y'all. This is real life, okay? And the thing is, we all do it. We all have unconscious bias. We all stereotype. It doesn't matter who you are, how you were raised, what religion you practice. We all have preconceived notions. We all have ideas about each other, including ourselves. Right? And I've actually narrowed it down to 3 reasons why we do it, essentially. And the first reason we stereotype is because it's human nature. This goes back to when we were cave people, right? And we had to make an assessment as to whether or not a situation was going to be dangerous physically for us. Now it's more or less, is it going to be a personal affront? Are we emotionally going to be in danger? Back in the day when we were cave people, it's like, is this a saber-toothed tiger coming to get me? Is this a warring tribe? Right? And we do that very quickly. There's actually a really good book by this guy named Malcolm Gladwell called Blink. Has anybody heard of it? Okay, a couple of you. In it, he talks about how we, in the first 6 seconds of meeting somebody, can decide whether or not we're going to date them. Now, he doesn't use the word date, but we're in a family show. Y'all know what I'm saying, okay? Our minds are supercomputers, right? We look at somebody, we make an assessment, right? To see if this is going to be an okay situation, if we need to have our guard up, if this is somebody we're going to allow in, based on everything that we've learned from our childhood to now. And that's where the second part of what why we stereotype comes in, because we've learned to do it. Sometimes we've learned it consciously, but most of the time, it's been subconscious, right? Because we picked it up from our families, from our parents, our grandparents, our relatives who say things about other groups of people, right? We pick it up from the media, right? We watch TV, we watch news. How many people play video games? Right? Who's typically the bad guys in a video game? Right? How many people grew up on Disney movies? Right? What does a princess always look like? You know, those are things that we have incorporated into our way of thinking that we carry through our lives, and we don't even think about it unless we point it out. Right? And the last reason that we stereotype is this thing called the ego. How many psychology people here? Okay, you know about the ego, the id, right? That is a powerful, powerful force. And the thing is, the ego always wants to be right. Right? And the ego likes to be able to know where it stands. So if we can put somebody in a category, oh my God, that's like the best thing in the world. Because not only can we put them in a nice little box where we can feel comfortable, but then we know how we can see ourselves. And that's reassuring to the ego. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about me before we go any further. I don't know if you've picked it up or not, but I'm black. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, no, I share that. Thank you. An applause. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My black people were up in the balcony. Apparently you guys thought this was going to be like a Gallagher show and I'm going to smash pumpkins and watermelons and shit and get it all over you. No, that wasn't going to happen. The reason I even pointed out that I'm black is because, honest to goodness, when I go and just do straight stand-up, I'll go to comedy shows, and for the first 5 minutes I'm talking, people are staring at me with their mouths open, like, that hair, that behind, but that voice, no, not so much. Not so much. Here's the deal, I'm not what the media typically portrays as black. I'm more like Zendaya black, right? Or Lisa Turtle from Saved by the Bell black. Does that make everybody a little more comfortable? There's a reason I feel like this too. I grew up in Texas. Okay, I'm from a place in Texas called Plano. Has anyone heard of Plano? Okay, if you've never heard of it, Plano is actually a really nice, affluent suburb north of Dallas that happens to have the ethnic diversity of Sweden. Okay, so not a lot of people looking like me walk around Plano. And actually, I can prove this. My senior year of high school, I starred in an all-white production of the play A Raisin in the Sun. I am not even make 2 guesses on who the raisin was. Okay, there were 1,200 people in my graduating class from high school. 12 of us were black. Okay, that's 1%. I had to import my prom date from Houston because I wanted a brown one. And growing up like that, y'all, well, it wasn't like I didn't have issues racially per se. I had more uncomfortable moments. I don't know if y'all have ever been in this situation. I kind of became like the honorary black representative for all of my melanin deficient friends. Thank you, smart people. No, they thought I knew I could do all things black, right? Like dance. So they gather around me at the dances, right? They form the circle, they start the chanting. Go Karith, it's your birthday. Go Karith, it's your birthday. I was like, no, it's not. But it is coming up. Thank you for saying something. I lost 18 black points that day. And trust me, those are way harder to make up than cool points. Right? Here's the craziest part, right? They thought I was gonna like do something amazing, like so you think you could dance. What nobody realizes I'm like a quarter Irish, okay? So I've never truly broken it down, but I can river dance like nobody's business. And I swear to God, if I didn't think I'd knock myself out with one of my boobs, I would do it for you right now. But I'm sorry, there are some things you need a sports bra for. Am I right, ladies? Exactly. And the crazy thing is, growing up like that, my own mother, my flesh and blood, actually said to me, she was convinced that I was going to marry a white guy and bring home zebra grandbabies. First of all, when did my mother and Peter Griffin start sharing a brain cell? Secondly, that's technically impossible, right? Because, A, we get to see little stripes biracial children when they're in town. Secondly, black people aren't black, we're brown, right? And white people aren't white. Well, maybe in Connecticut. But y'all are peach. And as far as I'm concerned, those are complementary colors. So my theory was always this, you know what? Even if I, do marry a white guy, I'm brown, he's peach, our kids will be beige. Which of those goes with everything. Seriously, you can decorate a house around that. I had all sorts of issues growing up. I was one of those people that I fluctuated in my weight my entire life. And it wasn't until I became like an adult and comfortable in my skin that I also was able to realize that it wasn't so much like how I felt about myself, but it was interesting. Like it depended on where it was geographically, how people saw me. Because when I'm in New York City, I'm pleasantly plump, right? When I go out to the West Coast for auditions and stuff, I'm a beach whale. But here's the deal, when I go out to the Midwest, like Missouri, where I went to college, I'm anorexic. And it is awesome. Seriously, if you're ever having a fat day, you buy yourself a one-way ticket to Kansas City. Because you will feel like a supermodel like that. I got off the plane, y'all. My friends were like, oh my God, Karith, are you okay? You're wasting away to nothing. I'm like, why don't I live here? They had an intervention for me, y'all, a barbecue intervention. And it was delicious. And I did dumb stuff to try to feel like I fit in. I did dumb stuff to try to be, thin and dumb stuff. The dumbest thing I ever did was something called the Master Cleanse. Have you heard of this? Beyonce did it to get ready for the movie Dreamgirls. Gwyneth Paltrow does it. This is what you do. You take some water, right, squeeze in lemon juice, add organic grade B maple syrup, then you add a dash of cayenne pepper, and you drink it till your butt burns. Which is apparently how you know it's working properly. I will say this about that, I did not know it was humanly possible to go number 3. I was wrong. See, this is about education. Now you have learned a lesson. The smartest thing I ever did though was, and the hardest thing, y'all, I did 90 days once of no sugar, no wheat, no dairy, no gluten, no alcohol. That was hard. You don't applaud that, applaud the fact that I didn't snap and randomly kill someone. Have you ever tried to do no sugar? You withdraw. I hallucinated. I was at the mall, these little white kids with frizzy hair walked by, I was like, they're cotton candy. See, y'all laughed. The security people did not. They did not. And it's insane, because we not only have fat people in this country and fat little kids, we now have fat pets. And that's what I feel the worst for. Fat pets, because that's not their fault. That's on us. They don't have opposable thumbs. They cannot get into the meow mix themselves. Right? My friend had this cat, y'all, 22.5 pounds. Okay, exactly. If that doesn't make your mouth drop open, let me put you this way. That's 4 bags of sugar with paws. And the only reason we know it weighed that much is because it had been limping, right? And my friend took it to the vet. And I'm not a rocket scientist, this is what I do for a living, but I was like, sweetie, maybe it's limping because, it's being crushed under its own weight. Turns out I was wrong. It's actually a bit more tragic. Come find out somebody had actually, shot his cat. I know, horrible, right? It was awful, and I felt terrible. Any of us would feel horrible. And I was trying to be sensitive, but I was also like, sweetheart, at 22.5 pounds, somebody probably thought it was a bloody wildebeest. Right? So I joke about stuff because I think humor is really important. I laugh about stuff that has happened in my life that was actually really painful at the time. But I think laughter is healing, it's cathartic, and I think we need it. Because my theory is if you can laugh at something, you can get through it. Right? But I also think laughter is a really good place to be and a good tool to use to kind of neutralize the situation. Because sometimes we have to have the uncomfortable conversations. Right? And it's easier to do if you're not on the offense, you're not on the defense, you're in a neutral space for hearing other ideas and learning a different way to look at something and having another perspective. And that's what I'm hoping to do with you guys tonight. Now, I do want to tell you guys that I wasn't kidding about growing up in a really, really white place and being the only one. This is actually me before we moved to Texas. This is my class before we moved to Texas. Can y'all pick me out? Top left? find me? I just have bigger boobs. No, I'm right here. On the bottom row, in the white, with the pigtails that are lopsided as hell. Then I moved to Texas. Can you find me now?
It's not?
I'm still in the front row. They like putting me in the front row, and I have not straightened my pigtails out. I don't know what the hell happened.
There. That's
Now it's gonna get difficult, okay? Take your time.
I don't know where it's
I know, it's like, where's Waldo?
It's
Right?
so run because
Where the hell's Karith? And, oh, I play soccer. Can you find me my... And Jim Crow laws. But they tried. This is actually a poster that was done in Europe. I don't know if you can read it, but it says, everyone is normal inside. Yeah, that's a fail. This poster right here, I actually took this to go to New York City,
cool, it's fine.
and it says, everybody deserves to be treated equally. It doesn't matter if you are black or yellow or brown or normal. Someone paid an ad agency to come up with that. Like, what the hell are people thinking? Like, that's why we have programming like what I'm doing. Because, well, people are very well intentioned, they're missing the mark. And they're still separating us, and they're still trying to, have a base of what is normal and what isn't. There's no such thing as normal, first of all. So, and these guys, they were just nimrods. This is an ad for their real estate agents. And they basically said, who would you rather represent us who are, in our well-dressed suits, or a busy mom with 2 kids who's working part-time? And I will tell you this, as a busy mom with 2 kids, I work harder than most people I know who just don't have any kids because I have to. I only have a set amount of time that I can get stuff done. And the good news is, at least with this, is their brothers, by the way, their mother saw this ad and totally ripped them a new one. So my goal with everything that I do, but especially with this program, is to get people to care. Okay? And that means having conscious empathy. Not to be confused with sympathy. Sympathy is like, oh, that's too bad for that person. Empathy is actually feeling what someone else is feeling, right? Conscious empathy is empathy on steroids, right? It's actually going to a place mentally where it may be a little uncomfortable, but you're doing it because you actually care, because you give a damn. And being able to ask yourself these questions, what is it like for them, and how must that feel? What is it like to be the only Asian person in a dorm room? What's it like to be a white person who's never been around people of other ethnicities before, and they're not sure what to say or what questions to ask, what's off limits, what's not? What's it like to be somebody who English is their second language, and sometimes they don't understand everything? Being empathetic to where that other person is coming from is crucial, right? In how we socialize and how we deal with each other. And it really helps bring everybody together. Active listening is another part of caring. And that's really hard because we are in a day and age now where most of the time we're communicating on social media, right? So you're not even getting to have like face-to-face time. And what's really interesting is that, the expression is not what you say, but how you say it. Well, with active listening, sometimes it's not what you hear, but how you interpret it. And everything's open for interpretation. But the question is, are you going to go straight for it being something that's offensive? Are you going to, ask questions like, where did that come from? What does that mean? Before you go directly to the offense. Because that's the best way to start an argument and not get anywhere, right? And this is a picture of me listening to my husband, or pretending to. But I had to incorporate that with him, and I had to invoke conscious empathy. Because we got into an argument, probably one of the worst places you can get into an argument. We were in the car going down the highway about 85 miles an hour, and you can't walk out and slam the door. That's not a good place to do it. And we actually got into a discussion about privilege. And I mentioned that he had a lot more privilege than I did in some respects. And he basically said I was accusing him of having white privilege. And I'm like, okay, wait, before this is out of control. First of all, I'm not accusing you of anything. Secondly, well, yes, you do have it, but let's make everything clear here. And I want you guys to understand this too. Everybody in this room has privilege, okay? The fact that you have access to an education means you have privilege. The fact that you have access to clean water means you have privilege, and clothes to wear, and food to eat. And if you were able to walk in here on your own, unassisted, that is privilege, okay? But there are different levels of privilege in this country. And unfortunately, it's been set up that way for many, many decades, and it's not anybody's fault. And I tried to explain to my husband that I wasn't accusing him of anything, and I didn't want him to feel bad about anything. I was just pointing out that he and I will be treated differently when we walk into a restaurant, whether we're by ourselves or not. I said, so I don't want you to feel guilty. Like, this is nothing to feel guilty about. Like, you can't help the skin you were born in. None of us can. But I do want you to understand that you are, because you are tall, you're 6'4", you got blue eyes, and you have a penis, people are going to see you differently than they see me. So this isn't about feeling bad. This is about you being an advocate for people who aren't like you. This is about you being an advocate for someone who's gay, for someone who's from another country, for someone who might be old and being dismissed by someone else in power, okay? And that's what this is all about. This is all about us being advocates for each other and understanding that there has been a social system set up that we didn't contribute to, but we can certainly change, okay, by how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. And he didn't understand it until we were actually at a casino in upstate New York, and we're driving around, and I never wanted to make like assumptions about anything. Like I've never gone into a situation thinking I'm going to be treated differently because I'm black or a woman. That's just how I was raised, you know, so that's not anything that even comes to my mind. But we're driving through this area in New York, and it was a beautiful area, and I kept seeing more and more Confederate flags in people's lawns along the way, and I'm from the South, so that means something to me. And you know, as a black person, I'm like, this is interesting. And then we get to the show, and I perform, and there was a competition, and actually one of my best friends ended up winning. And I did well, I came in like second or something, but I was fine with her winning, I was still glad. And after the show, people would come up, and usually people were like, hey, that was really great, you were funny. And they'd say that to everybody who's standing there. Well, they were coming up to my friend and saying that to her, and then literally, usually you get like, and you were funny too, because they don't want you to feel bad, but I got nothing, just like silence. I was like, okay, this is weird. And then I was standing in line at a little like dessert place to take some stuff up to my husband and the kids because they were in the hotel room. And this guy just like cut in front of me, and he was wearing a Get Her Done shirt. And I'm like, oh, good Lord. Well, and the joke's on him because Larry the Cable Guy is actually one of my best friends. But I was like, this is so weird. So I went upstairs to my husband, I go, honey, I don't mean to sound like paranoid or anything, but I said, I think this place is like a little racist. And he goes, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you. I'm like, what? What do you mean you forgot to tell me? Like that's something you share with your black wife, right? I go, that's privilege right there. The fact that you didn't even have to think about it. I'm like, well, how did you know? He goes, well, I used to date a girl from up here. Her family used to drop the N-bomb a lot. I'm like, well, shit, you could have told me. You know, a little forewarning so I knew not to, you know, how to react or how to handle myself a little bit better. And that's another part of it. You know, responsible reaction is huge. You know, how we react to somebody who says something or does something that we don't totally jive with. That's big because a lot of times it can cause an argument. A lot of times it can, you know, cause, misunderstandings, and it takes a lot of maturity to do it. I'm not saying it doesn't, but how we react to people is so, so crucial. And has anybody here ever received a backhanded compliment? Yeah, I'll start. I'd love to hear backhanded compliments. I'll give you one of mine. You're pretty for a black girl, right? Or I've been told that I was very articulate. Right? Anybody want to share? Just a couple hands went up over here. Yes?
That dress looks nice on you, but your twin looks better in it.
Oh, that's awesome. That dress looks nice on you, but your twin looks better in it. That's a nice backhanded compliment. Anybody else? Yes? Yes, yes. You played chess well for a girl. Because God knows you shouldn't be able to play chess well because you're a girl and girls are smart as guys, right? Yes, there's someone over here. I recently had a white guy who was an athlete raise his hand and be like, you're really smart for an athlete. You can't be smart and athletic, right? Anybody over here? No more backhanded compliments? It's amazing how people dole them out. And it's like, did you hear what just came out of your mouth? Were you even thinking about what you just said? right? I have another friend who, you have a really small nose for somebody who's Jewish, right? Or I don't think of you as gay. You're not gay. Really? Like all of that stuff is a bad thing, but these people are actually thinking and giving you a compliment. And how we respond to that is like crucial. But there are a couple reasons why people say crazy stuff. I don't want to say crazy like demeaning. I mean like stuff where it's like, did you think about it before you said it? And one of the reasons is class or couth. People just don't have any. Another reason is because they're curious, right? They want to know. Like, I mean, this summer I had my hair in dreads, and people would come up to me and touch my hair. I'm like, you can't just do that. That's like touching a pregnant woman's belly. You just, ask permission. Don't just touch somebody's hair because you are curious. I get it, but like think about it before you do it. Some people are clueless, and I'm guilty of that. I actually, when you guys sit down cross-legged, what do y'all call it? Crisscross applesauce, right? That's your thing. My generation, we called it Indian style. See, that's so wrong. That is so wrong. First of all, they're not Indians, they're Native Americans. And secondly, like, oh my God, that's just like so wrong, right? And we actually have a neighbor in Texas who, there are a lot of Asian people like moving into the community, and she was trying to tell us about it. She's like, oh yeah, this family just came in, and they are the nicest set of Oriental people you would ever meet. And I'm like, oh my God, like my mouth dropped open, right? I'm like, Oriental is a rug or a vase, not a people. But people don't know sometimes, She didn't know. But sometimes people are careless, and sometimes people are just jerks, right? Sometimes people are just jerks, and we have to figure out if we're going to give them our attention or not. But it never hurts to try to have the conversation. This one right here, queen of responsible reactions, her name's Melody Hobson, and she is married to this dude. Do you know who that is? George Lucas, Star Wars. So between the two of them, she's a multi-millionaire financial wizard. They could buy and sell like everybody in this room. Like they are like, and I don't mean like buy, like you know what I mean, like they could, you know what I mean. Let's not get crazy. That's an expression, and maybe that's a really bad expression actually. But as far as like, they could buy us out of our houses, they could, pay for our tuitions, they could take care of everything between them. Anyway, she's really good friends with this guy, Cory Booker, who's now a senator from New Jersey. But he was originally the mayor of Newark. And he actually was running for office, and she was backing him. She actually held a fundraiser for him at a really nice hotel in New Jersey. And they walked in together. I guess they came in at the same time. And they told the lady at the front desk what they were there for, what event. And she's like, oh, okay, follow me. And she takes them through some corridors and through some back rooms. And she finally, they're looking at each other like, where is she taking us? And they get to where they're going. And she goes, okay, so where are your uniforms? Yeah, if that doesn't make your mouth drop open. And fortunately, someone who was in their party came out and found them. And I was like, oh, there you guys are. And she explained that it was the guest of honor and the person who was actually paying for the whole thing. And the woman was, of course, mortified, as she should have been. And Melody could have lost her mind, right? She could have gone off on her. She could have had her fired right then and there. But she didn't. She reacted responsibly because she let that woman's horror at being so presumptuous be basically, how she had to deal with it, be her payment, if you will. And she gave a TED Talk about it, and she said, hopefully that woman will never make an assumption about anyone again. It's like the story you always hear about the little old man and his like dirty fingernails and his overalls going to a car dealership. Nobody talks to him, nobody pays attention to him. Finally, somebody does, and what does he do? He pays for the car in cash, right? That happens a lot. We make these assumptions about people all the time. So we have to react responsibly. Now, this is my husband doing what he loves. He actually loves motocross so much that he proposed to me with a motocross bike. I'm not even kidding. We had to have a serious conversation about that. And I made him put a ring on it because that shouldn't happen. But one of the things that used to happen is he would do these races and he would end up like this. Like this almost every race that he did because he's good at it. But we've been on the road for a while and he hadn't been able to practice. And the last race that he had this spring, he ended up like that. And he actually ended up in the ER with 6 broken ribs, a broken collarbone, and didn't know at the time is that his lungs were filling with blood. His right lung was almost completely full of blood, and they had to stick a tube in his chest. Now, when I got the call, I remember thinking, oh my God, this is great. He dislocated his shoulder again. But I got to the hospital with the girls, and I realized it was really serious. So we had a friend in the waiting room with our children. We're in the back room of the ER. And I'm standing off to the side because, I wanted to give them room. I could tell, like, this was a life or death situation. And I heard them asking him questions like, what's your name? What's your birth date? Where are you from? Because they were trying to see if he was concussed, if he, had his senses about him. But then they started asking questions that they really needed to know. Like, have you ever had a surgery? What's your blood type? Are you allergic to any medications? And I started answering for him because they needed to know this. And I'm answering for him, but nobody's acknowledging me. It was like I was invisible. And so I started answering louder, and I moved a little closer, and still, nothing. And I remember at one point looking down at my hands and going, oh my God, am I really even here? Or is this like an M. Night Shyamalan movie? It was so weird. And I finally said, I yelled, I'm like, this is what it, and then the doctor looks up and he goes, I'm sorry, and you are what relationship to the patient? I was like, oh my God. I go, I'm his wife. And then about 4 or 5 other people who came through said the same thing. And it wasn't what they said, because they legally had to know, I get that. It wasn't what they said, it was how they said it. And it was so dismissive. And I remember thinking, oh my God, okay, if I go off right now, I'm going to be seen as the angry black woman, and I'm going to get kicked out. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to be let back in, and my husband needs me. Like, this is the father of my children. So I held it together. And I don't know when the shift happened, but I remember feeling it being a little different. And they started speaking to me and including me. And I remember thinking, is this true racism? Is this what's happening? And then I realized it wasn't racism. It was me taking them out of their concept of normal. Us taking them out of their concept of normal. And I thought, this must be what same-sex couples go through, right? This must be what people who are a different ethnicity from the adopted family that they're in go through. Because we have this idea of what's quote-unquote normal, like those ads I showed you, right? And when we take people out of it, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to handle it. And I know it wasn't quote-unquote racism, because after people were able to it marinated for them, I was brought into the conversations. I was shown the x-rays. They actually asked if I was a medical professional because I knew terminology. One guy went out and bought me coffee. Okay, racist people don't do that. And I think a lot of times we jump the gun on things, and I had to invoke my responsible reaction in one of the most dire times in my life. And it was a lesson for me. And I'm not saying racism doesn't exist, it sure as hell exists, so does sexism, okay? We have these things and they are real, they occur, but I think we also have to be aware of what situations merit accusations about that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay, and the good news is my husband is fine, he's back to normal, he's getting on my nerves, so he's recovered, it's all good. But the last part of care is environmental awareness, okay? And I get it, birds of a feather flock together. We gravitate toward people who have similar backgrounds. We gravitate toward people who we feel comfortable with. But right here, right now, y'all, this is your opportunity to be able to engage with people who are different from you by choice. And I highly recommend you do that, because when you leave here, and I'm not going to call it the real world, because this is the real world, okay? But when you leave here to go to another world, you're not going to have those choices. You're not going to have those options. So do it now, where you can expand your horizons, where you can learn about each other. I get why it's comfortable and easy to stick with what you know, but just stepping outside of your comfort zone a little bit to engage with other people, you have no idea how that is going to change your world. And it's amazing, and it's wonderful, and I highly encourage it. So it's a challenge. Everything I mentioned, y'all, is a challenge. The conscious empathy, the active listening, responsible reactions, stepping outside of your comfort zone to change your environment a little bit. And I think the perfect representation of this physically is, y'all remember this? Remember this a couple of years ago? It was on the internet. Right? How many people saw it as white and gold? right? Okay, how many people saw it as black and blue? Isn't that amazing? And it was the same dress. The same dress. Yet people saw it differently. Why was it such a big deal? Why was it such a big deal? Anybody? Because what? It was because you thought it was photoshopped? It was a big deal because everybody who saw it thought they were right? Because they're looking at it, they see it. How could it possibly be something other than what I'm seeing? It's right in front of me. Huh? Perspective, exactly, yes, perspective. But that's exactly it. That's the whole thing about life, right? We may see a situation and have totally different ideas about it because we're coming from different places. And that's just something we have to keep in mind and remember. We may not always see the same thing the exact same way. That's the beauty, but that's also the challenge. Now, the only thing that there is a definite right or wrong in is this. I'm sorry, if you're an under person, I don't know how you got dressed in the morning, honestly. But here's the deal, y'all. When you care, this is what you get. You get communication, you get acceptance, you get respect, and you get engagement. And that's really the goal for all of us. So, I would love for you, if you took the first Snapchat, to take the second one. And then I'm going to bid you adieu and let you get on to your world. But I would love for you to do this for me. And I'm actually going to take a selfie with you guys. Oh. What, now you're sorry you didn't sit in the front? No. No. I am so glad I'm in the back. Hold on.
Just take a video, zoom in.
Take a video?
Yeah.
But you're not down here.
We up here though, just submit.
Love that. And if you ever want to reach out or have some questions, that's my info. And then, oh, and do not forget to grab a survey on your way out.